Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Omar Khalid. But today is Monday, the 19th of December, 2022. The year is slowly and steadily coming to an end, but we've got lots to share with you. We'll begin, ladies and gentlemen, with the visit of our Foreign Minister Bilawal Zardari to the United States. We've already shared last week of some of the important comments that he had to make as far as the rebuttal to Mr. Jaishankar was concerned. Also, now he's in Washington. He's there for a couple of days, and this is going to be an important visit of his because of further cooperation with the US, of also fostering a tangent relationship with the United States of America in different fields. Bilawal Zardari Sahab has been playing a key role as far as that is concerned, and he's also a very key figure as far as the international body and to highlight Pakistan's point of view on different regional affairs, whether it comes to Pakistan or its positioning in the region or Pakistan's need for help post the flood is concerned. Bilawal Zardari Sahab has been an icon in that respect. This is going to be our first segment, his arrival in the US and what is going to happen during those days. Our second segment, ladies and gentlemen, concerns a terrorist attack that happened in Lucky Marwat district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in which police officers lost their lives. There has been condemnation from President Dr. Arif Alvi, from our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif Saab, as well as our Foreign Minister and the Chief Minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The militants attacked the Burghi police station in Lucky Marwat early Sunday morning, leaving 4 policemen dead and injuring as many, according to a police official. What is happening as far as terrorism is concerned when it comes to the elements that are invading Pakistan from across the border from Afghanistan? What is their intention, their ultimate goal? This is going to be part of our discussion in our second segment. Then we'll be discussing researchers from the University of Basel and the University Hospital Basel in Switzerland who have tested the possibility of artificial maturing of breast cancer cells and turning them into normal cells again. This is a strategy which is called differentiation. It has been successfully implemented in treating blood-borne cancers, but has yet to be tried in solid tumors. But apparently the percentage is quite high as to people who have cancer, for them to go into complete remission. This is a very important story. And our third story, our last story of the day, ladies and gentlemen, concerns Twitter. We know since Elon Musk took control of Twitter, there have been a lot of question marks as to where he is going to take Twitter, how he's going to follow it up. Now, Twitter has said on Sunday it is just going to remove accounts that have been created solely for the purpose of promoting other social media platforms and content that contains links or usernames. Now, this includes Mastodon, Truth Social, Tribal, Facebook, Instagram. All of these platforms are going to be impacted. At the same time, there has been a poll that was done by Elon Musk himself very recently, in fact today, and this was reported by all the important media outlets like the BBC as well. And they said that as per the poll that had been asked by Elon Musk, he had said whether he should remain the CEO of Twitter, and 57% almost have said no. Will he leave the position, but of course remain associated because he's the founder, not the founder, but he has bought Twitter. But will he remove himself from the post of CEO? That remains to be seen. Let's come to our first story, and that concerns the visit of our Foreign Minister Bilawal Zardari Sahab to the United States of America. Important visits, important meetings, and of course this all comes at an important juncture when Pakistan is faced with a lot of challenges, internal, external and regional. More in the following report.
As a responsible global actor, has always enshrined some noble principles in its foreign policy toolkit, such as peace, regional equilibrium, strategic balance, shared prosperity and win-win partnerships. Thus, balanced and broad-based engagements with multilateral global institutions have always remained significant. Foreign Minister Bilawal Zardari, who's currently in New York, attended several events, including hosting the G77 and China Ministerial Conference, a meeting with the UN Deputy Secretary General Amina J. Mohammed, before addressing a news conference. Earlier in an interview in American television program PBS NewsHour, the Foreign Minister spoke at length about a variety of topics concerning the domestic as well as regional situation, besides the Pakistan-US bilateral relations. Highlighting India-terror nexus, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari delivered a blistering response to India's renewed terror mantra against Pakistan by spotlighting Saffron Terror of RSS, a Hindu supremacist paramilitary volunteers group which has inspired Prime Minister Narendra Modi and shaped his political ideology. Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto called Modi Butcher of Gujarat, a nickname he had earned for overseeing a massacre of Muslims in Gujarat in 2002 when he was the state chief minister. Pakistan has a historical relationship with the US, partnered over the course of history, and the visit of Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto is expected to diversify a host of areas in which both the countries are cooperating.
Saqib is a Foreign Affairs Analyst, joins us online. Ambassador Sahab, thank you very much to have joined us. Ambassador Sahab, how important do you feel has been the visit of Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Sahab so far, and now that he's in Washington, what do you feel Pakistan hopes to achieve?
There is one hope that what Pakistan can achieve, and there is this practical and pragmatic approach that what could be achieved actually. So let us see first of all what Foreign Minister Bilawal should be aiming at. Number one is to brief his counterpart or his interlocutors in Washington what is happening in the region. The good news is that recently we heard that as far as counter-terrorism is concerned, ISK is concerned, ISIS is concerned, Al-Qaeda, and particularly TTP, the American government has stated that they would work along with Pakistan to see that the menace of terrorism, how we can deal with it together. Now, this is a big development ever since the withdrawal of NATO and American forces from Afghanistan. This is the first news, good news, as far as Pak-US relations are concerned in the context of Afghanistan and counter-terrorism. So this could be a good beginning. Number two is the biggest challenge for any diplomat from Pakistan right now is how to convince the Americans that Pakistan-China relations are independent of Pakistan's relations with the US. And then some apprehensions about buying diesel and oil from Russia. Then Pak-India relations, naturally very important. And another important aspect is Pakistan-Afghanistan and US-Afghanistan relations, because there is a paradox there in Afghanistan. And I would like to tell your audiences, because relationship between two countries are never independent. They are dependent on certain, contingencies, certain other concerned areas. For instance, in this case, Pakistan and Afghanistan recently, the Minister of State of Foreign Affairs, she visited Afghanistan, followed by an assassination attempt on our CDA in Kabul. Now, these things do matter to Americans because they don't acknowledge and recognize the Taliban government. So there is this triangle between, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and the US. And Mr. Bilawal Bhutto has to tell them that this has got nothing to do with our relationship, the trajectory of Pak-US bilateral relationship. And this is a big challenge. Another challenge is that Pakistan, China, CPAC, other projects, even Taiwan, Hong Kong, Xinjiang, and all those conflicting areas, Pakistan must brief the United States that these are our principal stands on Pakistan-China relations, and similarly with regard to Russia. This butcher of Gujarat that you have mentioned, I think this is going to be a talking point in Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto's bilateral talks, if ever they take place with Anthony Blinken, because Pakistan, tends to forget that India, although it is our arch rival and we have fought wars, etc., but for the West, particularly the United States of America, India is a strategic ally. So another challenge is how to portray, Pakistan-India present relationship, particularly in the context of held Jammu and Kashmir, and not annoy the, the hosts in Washington. So there is a plethora of issues that Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto is having on his agenda.
All right, let's begin with the last part of your answer that you've just mentioned, and that concerns Pakistan-India relationship, the tangent of the relationship between us and our not-so-friendly neighbor. I think, Ambassador Saab, the whole world knows, including the United States of America, of how India has been treating Pakistan, how India has been maligning Pakistan. We also know about, as you said, quote unquote, the butcher of Gujarat has been quoted by our Foreign Minister Bilawal Zardari Saab in the United States of America. In your point of view, what is or what becomes the significance of Pakistan's response to Indian malicious terror mantra against Pakistan? Because if I remember, Mr. Jaishankar had been continuously saying over and over again that Pakistan was a terrorist state.
Look, exposing the real face of India is one part of Pakistan's foreign policy, but that is not enough. Don't you think that the Americans and the European Union, they know more about it? For instance, the EU Disinfo Lab, where did it start? It started from Europe. They know more than we do. But the important aspect is not that they don't know, and they should know that what the real face of this largest democracy of the world is. The more important thing is how the international community, particularly the United States of America and European Union, and more importantly, France and Germany, etc., the powerful countries, UK, how do they react to what India is doing internally and externally? For instance, internally, there are about more than 35 separatist movements going on, and leave aside the held, Jammu and Kashmir area, what they are doing there, human rights violations, etc., and their state-sponsored terrorism making Pakistan target. They know it more than we do. The challenge is that if they know that what India is up to and what India has been, its nefarious activities, as Hina Rabbani, put it very rightly, how are they going to react to it? We have been portraying it for so many times. The second dossier, which has just recently been presented. There was another dossier, we presented last year by DGISPR and the foreign minister, at that time. What happened to that? Neither India nor the international community took cognizance of this. What does it mean? It means that at diplomatic level, we have to work very hard, extremely hard, consistently work towards not only exposing the real face of India, but also tell them that Pakistan is, whatever Pakistan is doing right now is according to the international law and principles.
But Ambassador Sahib, this is very interesting because you yourself have been in this world of diplomacy for quite some time, and you understand how diplomacy works. How can Pakistan use diplomacy as a tool to change this knowledge that the world has, as you yourself said, into some kind of pressure tactic or action on India so that it changes its policy, A, towards Pakistan, B, internally towards its minorities and Muslims?
Any student of international relations can tell you, even you can answer, this is a very simple question. Foreign policy of any country depends on your internal political and economic situation. No diplomat can talk about, beautiful, flowery language, does not work at all. That is why India is doing certain negative things, but its foreign policy is strong. Why? The economic situation and the political stability in New Delhi is great. Unluckily or luckily, rather unluckily, right now, the depiction of our internal situation and the economic crunch, that has got to be reflected in our foreign policy. So in simple words, you have to stop this political uncertainty in Pakistan. Something has to be done by all the politicians and come to terms with the real situation, that how to increase our exports, how to do this economic crunch, because without economic stability, you cannot have a strong policy. And once if you have economic stability followed, the political stability followed by economic stability, your diplomats' work will be very easy. They won't
All right.
have to, make speeches as such.
But you know, despite that fact, Ambassador Saab, before we go to the next part, and I would also like to understand your perspective on other important regional issues, you know, the fact remains that India's belligerence, India's attitude towards Pakistan is nothing new. It has been going on since decades. Pakistan's economic or political issue currently that we are facing is something that is there since a year and a half, not more than that. What happened before all of that? What happened to the previous years and the previous governments? Why were we not able to satisfy or convince the international bodies or the powers that be that India needs to be handled in a different manner because of the human rights abuses that it is continuing to perpetrate?
If the political stability was ever there in Pakistan, the question is, were we economically stable also? For this, you have to see that how many years we have been in this IMF program. How many years this debt burden is causing us issues. And you know that whether it is IMF or FATF or United Nations or the Security Council, the most important organ of the United Nations, we have always been, and I'm as a diplomat, one doesn't normally use this word always and never, but I can assure you, we have always been on the defense as far as our economic situation is concerned. Yes, we had some spans of time in which we had political stability, but our economics, our trade and commerce, those are our Achilles heel. We have to see it, practically, pragmatically, how best we can get out of this IMF. Right now, if you see the situation, it is the worst possible situation. The IMF is not even, giving us a date to negotiate. And we are, God forbid, we are, moving towards default on our imports. So this situation calls for immediate measures at home first, and then your diplomats are, of course they are there. Now in a situation in which your diplomats are not getting salaries, what do you expect from them? So we have to be, practical. We have to see that this is the situation, and this is what exactly the present government is doing. This is why exactly, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto is in Washington, to tell them that yes, we have this economic crunch, but as far as our foreign policy is concerned, there has been, no problems with that. Our relation with the world, we are the largest contingent in the UN peacekeeping force to begin with. We are number one. We are number one in many areas. The only problem is this political uncertainty right now and those apprehensions. And let me tell you, I mean, I'm happy that I recall that main, as far as Pakistan-US relations right now are concerned, the main issue is what Pakistani Prime Minister, I'm not saying Shehbaz Sharif or Imran Khan, what Prime Minister of Pakistan has been saying for the last 3.5 years. For instance, they ask you to come for the Summit of Democracies. The President Biden himself issues this invitation. You say, no, we don't want to come. What message are you conveying? Then there is a regime change in Islamabad and you say, America conspired this, all that Donald Lu story. Then there are Olympics, Beijing Olympics. The Americans and the European Union and all Western countries boycotted that, but your Prime Minister has to be there in the inauguration session. What message are you giving? And one clarification is very important, Omar, here. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif cannot say this, that, oh, there was this person called Imran Khan who was Prime Minister at that time and we don't agree with him and now the situation is this. A Prime Minister of a country is known by his designation, not by name. So when a Prime Minister, issues a statement, it means the state of Pakistan is issuing that. So the state of Pakistan statements in the last 3 years or so, particularly this conspiracy theory and the public opinion, which the Americans are very, very careful about. They are very concerned about that because of that, the public opinion in Pakistan went against America. So Bilawal's job right now is to
is a very tough one, but a very important one at the same time, Ambassador Saab. I think he's trying to mend all that has happened in the past few years as far as the Pakistan-US relations and the accusations and the finger pointing towards the US has happened. So let's hope for Pakistan's sake that Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Saab manages, and he has managed. I mean, he's a very vocal person, and he's somebody who understands how to talk and how to make people understand Pakistan's perspective. So I hope that perspective and that point of view is well understood. What about enabling developing countries to overcome immediate challenges of food, fuel and finance? These are also three important challenges that many developing countries, including Pakistan, are facing and will be facing. Do you feel that our foreign minister will be able to convince the world, the US, because he also spoke as the host of the G77 and China Ministerial Conference. He also said that he will take the lead in promoting these changes to revive a sustainable global growth. Is that a possibility?
There is a possibility of Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto pointing out all these things that you have mentioned. But I'm afraid I don't think that he will get a positive response right now. Mending ways, as you have just mentioned, that is step number one.
All right.
You have to tell them repeatedly that we made this mistake. We are now focusing on present and future. And we are going to have elections, let's say this year, the next year or whatever, and a stable political government will come which can talk to you and, all those things regarding sovereign, guarantees and everything what a stable government can provide to take all these things, for instance, on food, for fuel, etc. So aid, grants, etc. So Foreign Minister Bilawal can, and he must, say all these things, particularly the effects of the recent floods and the economic, burden, the additional burden that Pakistan has to face and the people of Pakistan are facing. There is no harm in it. And by the way, America was in the forefront to, offer help in this regard already. The United Nations, Secretary General was here personally. So they are aware of this, but they are waiting for the right time and to sit. I mean, I must say, to sit on a negotiating table, you have to create that ambiance. You have to create that atmosphere in which you can talk, you can listen, and you can talk, and you can listen, and then you can agree upon. Right now, as you have said, mending ways is the main thing. Once it is done, and as I told you, that America's decision to work along with Pakistan in counter-terrorism, this ISK and ISIS, etc., and TTP particularly, this is a very good beginning. And personally, as a diplomat who served Pakistan for more than 35 years, I am expecting some positive statements. I'm not expecting the moon. Some positive statements from Washington that relationship are, Pakistan and US relationship are now treading in the right direction. And if, Omar, you hear this, statement from Ned Price or from Anthony Blinken or any one official from Washington, this will be the biggest good news in the recent past.
All right, let's hope, Ambassador Saab, that this good news comes during the visit of Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Saab, during his meetings that will be happening while he is in Washington. And of course, let's hope this is the right time and the right ambiance is created by our foreign minister in order to for Pakistan and the United States to move forward in an environment that is not only conducive for both, but that is also full of trust and understanding each other's perspective on different regional and international issues. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. That was Ambassador Najam Saqib talking to us about the visit of Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Saab to the United States of America in the whole context of all the challenges that Pakistan is confronted with, and the way our Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari Saab has highlighted Pakistan's point of view and also highlighted what is happening in the region is quite commendable. Let's hope, let's wish that the international body, the United States, understands Pakistan's perspective and moves towards a more tangible and conducive and an environment full of trust with Pakistan. We are wishing for that. let's hope let's see what the upcoming days bring to the forefront. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, of the day concerns the militant attack on the Burgi police station in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Lucky Marwat that happened early yesterday. It left 4 policemen dead. Terrorism is something that has surfaced in Pakistan again, especially after the TTP saying that they had ended the ceasefire, and we have had so many attacks that have happened in different areas of Pakistan but concentrated in Balochistan and in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. What is all of this leading to? What needs to be Pakistan's perspective on that? More in the following report.
Pakistan always remained at the forefront of fighting terrorism, and it has incessantly urged the international community to help combat and go after those who backed, supported, financed and facilitated the terrorism in the country. Fight against terrorism continues as terror threat is rearing its head again in certain areas of Pakistan. 4 policemen were martyred when terrorists attacked a police station at Bargai village in Lucky Marwat. Lucky Marwat is situated in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's southern region, which has witnessed a surge in terror attacks, especially targeting law enforcement personnel and security forces. And this was the 4th attack on police in the region in the past month. Earlier on 16th of November, 6 cops were martyred when the van they were travelling in was attacked with heavy weapons in Kurampar area of Lucky Marwat. In the following attacks, Manzar Faqir police post in Tajori area and Sadr police station in Arsala area near Lucky Marwat were attacked on the 23rd and 25th of November respectively. Subsequently, an operation was launched by the Pakistan Army in Pashan area of Lucky Marwat. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif strongly condemned the terror attacks on police stations and expressed resolve to continue efforts to completely eliminate remnants of terrorism in the country. Pakistan has always condemned terrorism in all its forms and manifestations and regretted that the masterminds remained at large.
Dr. Farah Naz, who is an analyst, joins us online. Dr. Farah, thank you very much to have joined us. Dr. Farah, when you look at what happened in Lucky Marwat, when you look at all the different incidents that have been happening in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, and of course the statements that are emanating from the TTP, what is in fact the whole strategy of destabilizing Pakistan? Who in your point of view is behind it? Is it really the TTP? Is it the ISK? Are there other elements behind it? And what is the ultimate goal of these different organizations?
Hi Omar, I think this is a very heavy question. That who is behind it? On the face of it, it looks as Taliban, and they are claiming and demanding something that is not acceptable to the state of Pakistan. If we look at that, whether the Taliban are doing it by their own, and they are so powerful at this stage that they can claim and demand anything from the government of Pakistan to be done for them, I think they are yet not having that capacity. Now coming back to whether it is TTP or Islamic State, who are there in Afghanistan behind it, I will believe that there's always, whenever any terrorist act is happening in the country, it's always foreign instigators, and there is always foreign involvement in that. Whether we say that the TTP is the core group behind it, probably. Islamic State, who are sponsored by some international agencies, probably they will also be trying their level best to create and to spread instability in Pakistan. But Omar, I would like to tell here that this is not the first time happening in Pakistan. I think there's almost more than 2 decades that Pakistan is facing terrorist acts and activities which is really aiming for to create instability in the country. So by now the government is very well aware of how to deal with them. They know how to have counter mechanism. They know how to react and respond to them. So it's not the first time, and we are not panicked even earlier times and not even now. We know how to deal them.
But Dr. Saiba, the fact remains that we see such incidents happening on a very regular level since quite some time. Who should we ask to help? Should it be the provincial government that should be on the front end as far as the defense mechanism is concerned? Should it be the federal government that should also pitch in? What should be the response of the government? I know our armed forces, our intelligence agencies are also working around the clock to diffuse all such tensions, because for every incident there are so many other incidents that we do not get to know of that have been diffused by our intelligence agencies. But what should be the strategy of our provincial or our federal government?
I think if we say that it's only the duty of the federal government to look into it and the provincial government can relax on, no, it's a mutual work. Both the federal and provincial governments have to work hand in glove and they have to come up with strategies to deal with them. And as I mentioned, I'm not saying it on public, but they know and they are aware of what and how they're going to deal with it. So the teams are already on board. The teams know how to handle them. It's a mutual work because this is a security threat to the state of Pakistan. It's not only the Pakhtunkhwa provinces who is getting affected. We have seen there is a chain of events that is taking place in the recent past. Balochistan province has faced it, KP government is facing, and whenever, based on the security studies approach, whenever there is an instability happening in any part of the world, we have to see the global dynamics because international politics also play a very important role in that. There is like since the the Taliban government have formed their de facto government in Afghanistan, they are still struggling with their recognition. And one of the major issue in their recognition is the elimination of terrorism from its soil and not to be used in any neighboring countries and let alone in any part of the world. So probably the foreign groups who don't want them to be recognized, they are, I'm not sure, we have to still conduct some research and get some details on this, but probably they are not of the opinion that some sort of stability should come in this part of the world, because stability here probably will be a direct threat to their interest. So we have to look into those concepts and ideas and emerging global political situation in consideration when we talk about why these terrorist acts are happening, and they are pacing up so fast. I think they're all interconnected and linked.
All right, Dr. Saiba, you talk about the Pakistan strategy that also needs to evolve under the evolving scenarios that we are also being confronted with. Do you feel our counter-terrorism strategy is evolving properly to combat these novel threats of terrorism? Because as you talked about elimination of terrorists, their supporters, facilitators, and that is also part of our national policy and the National Action Plan as well. How do you feel Pakistan is moving forward as far as that strategy is concerned?
I think Pakistan, as I said, this is not the first time that we are receiving some kind of threat from a Taliban government or Taliban or any terrorist group. Pakistan has been witnessing these kind of things from quite some time, and it is more than 2 decades now. So Pakistan knows how to quickly, revisit its existing policies and think about how to resolve them, because each time the terrorist threat was different from the other one, because our mosques have been attacked, our schools have been attacked, our hospitals have been attacked, or even the funerals, which I believe nobody can go there and explode themselves if there is a dead body already existing there. So Pakistan is such a country who has seen the worst of the worst. And recently, whatever happened, that they were kidnapping some people and they were breaking on the jails and all of that. This is not the first time. As I mentioned already, our agencies, our forces, our troops, they are well equipped.
Dr. Farah Naz, when it comes to, of course, you said that our intelligence agencies are well equipped to deal with any such circumstances, any such situation. The fact also remains that we are seeing, increase in insurgency from across the border, from Afghanistan into Pakistan. We have seen different incidents in which the terrorists have attacked Pakistan from across the border. How important becomes the role of the incumbent Afghan Taliban government under these circumstances? Do you feel that it is sincere enough to thwart such attempts? Do you feel it needs Pakistan's help, because Pakistan has been helping Afghanistan in the past as well? Do you feel it will accept Pakistan's help to thwart such elements within its territory?
Yeah, I think the current de facto government in Afghanistan, if they want to resolve the issue by their own, I think it will be a bit too much to demand from somebody who is dealing with so many other issues as well. And I think economic security is one of the major problems where their people are dying of hunger, humanitarian crisis and all of that. To deal with the issue of terrorism, which is one of the major problems and hindrance in their way of getting recognized, they should seek help from the neighboring countries. And I think they should extend help and support towards Pakistan, and Pakistan should help and support them in eliminating terrorism, because we share this long, porous border, and restoring this border's peaceful stability and security, I think this is crucial for both the countries. Pakistan has been helping them, supporting them in elimination of terrorism in the past, and Pakistan can do it because Pakistan stands for peace, and it can do anything that can overcome the problem of terrorism from any part of the world. But here the problem is, are they the de facto government of Kabul? Are they really capable enough to do so? I believe that they are facing lots of problems within. And in that, I will not be hesitant and reluctant to say that they are dealing with their own Pashtunwali code of conduct, where once they give shelter to their to anyone, if it's even their enemy, and they get into their territory and they ask for shelter, they cannot kick them off. So the Taliban government, they are facing problem in how to kick these people out of their territories, where there is this the Taliban 1 and Taliban 2.0, they are struggling with some conservative mindsets and all of that. It's hard for them to kick them away straight away. So it is really getting hard for the current government in Kabul to deal with this issue, and also for Pakistan, because Pakistan cannot afford instability here. We are already going through a lot of our own mess. So we need to have some sort of stability on the border. But unfortunately, since the Taliban government is moving forward towards some progress and development, and they want to be getting recognized, the borders are getting really busier in terms of terrorism and all of that. And there is this spillover effect of terrorism from Afghanistan to Pakistan. And I won't be saying that it was unexpected. It was expected, because if you, from you, I mean the state of Pakistan, if you are so sure of that you have to hunt down on all extremist groups and terrorist groups, then of course there will be an action-reaction phenomena. So they will be responding back. And we will be really naive to say that if Pakistan, in Pakistan, there were no terrorists living here. They had their sleeping cells already. And those sleeping cells were not only from operated from Afghanistan, from Kabul here, but they were also there, and still are, they are also sponsored by other international players as well, who use and misuse them for their own political objectives. So we are getting and becoming a victim of another wave of terrorism here, keeping in mind the geostrategic, geopolitical and international arena that we are living in.
That is so true, because recently I was also looking at the interview that was given by CNN by Noor Wali Masood, who is the leader of the Outlaw Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, and he also had a lot of dubious questions as far as the relationship of Pakistan and Afghanistan, and of course here the role of the TTP is concerned. This said, what in your point of view needs to be the role of Pakistan under the mounting security challenges that are emanating from Afghanistan? Should it continue in the same vein as far as its cooperation with Afghanistan is concerned on the economic front and other fronts? Should it use leverage in a carefully calibrated way from a policy toolkit of incentives and disincentives, or in your point of view, should it forge a coordinated regional strategy using leverage to bring pressure on Kabul? What should it do?
I think it's going to be a multi-pronged tact and way of dealing with the problems, and I think it should be regional approach, putting pressure on the de facto government to control all these groups who are having terrorist activities here on the border and in Pakistan provinces. Of course, Pakistan cannot stay away from using force on the borders, and if they are violating our territory and they are getting involved in any sort of instability here in our country, in Pakistan, definitely the troops are going and the forces are going to respond back to it, and they are really aware of where all these guys are, where their sleeping cells, where they're hiding. So they will hunt them down. There is no doubt about it, and that's why we have the best of the best intelligence services here. Now coming back to negotiations and diplomacy, I think that's the best way in today's complex world. If you cannot bring peace through bullets, let's bring peace through talks and discussions. So let's communicate. But communication does not mean that we accepting to the terms and conditions of the Taliban all the time. We had negotiations with them.
Communication should be made from a position of strength, not of a weakness.
Not of a weakness, because the thing is that they are here and they are small in numbers as compared to the troops that we have here. And in terms of the resources and capabilities, I have no doubt that the government of Pakistan, its troops and its intelligence agencies and all its security sectors, they are fully equipped with all the material that is required. We should not get bullied by these kind of pressure tactics, which has been happening in the past and which will happen now and in the future as well. We should stick to a formula that can help us and that can strengthen our position, where we have to say that if you do this, we know how to deal with you. So better talk and let's discuss how to resolve the problem rather than dragging it for further, because without resolving it, there is no solution. So I think diplomacy, communication, regional involvement, and of course, if they are using force, responding to that force in a multiplied format is something that is required.
But Dr. Farah Naz, the question also remains that we have used talks in the past with the TTP, and look where it has, look what the results have been recently with the number of attacks that have increased from the TTP side. This said, there is also a report by NACTA that was presented to the Senate Standing Committee on Interior that has revealed that withdrawal of US forces from Afghanistan gave impetus to the activities by the TTP with its base still intact in Afghanistan. It also terms certain divisions vulnerable to terrorism due to their central location. In your point of view, what should be the recommendations and how should Pakistan and its security apparatus move forward under these recommendations that have been given by NACTA and other security institutions to move forward in an environment where Pakistan can become stable security-wise?
Yeah, I think securitizing Pakistan and stabilizing it, I think this is the prime most duty of any organization, institution here in the country. So they will do their level best to securitize the state and stabilize it, know how to do it. In this kind of challenging security and insecurity environment, I think it is best that they should speak to the Taliban government. But as I said, the Taliban government themselves are dealing with a lot of problems and they are not able and capable of handling these guys who are already there on their soil. They have to come up with some kind of mechanism. So I think better putting pressure on the Taliban government may help restore some kind of peace here and stability here. But we also have to see where actually the problem lies. Is it only the Waziristan or some patches on the border that are really becoming a problem area for us, or is it the sleeping cells? So we have to look into the details very carefully and then design multi-pronged strategy. As I said, it's something which is not going to be decided with one strategy. We should use all means, all ways of restoring peace and stability here in the country. Because
of course, so the strategy in your point of view needs to be multi-pronged. It should look at all the different angles as far as the different, of course, organizations that are trying to hamper Pakistan's security is concerned and how to deal with them in such a manner so that the approach becomes a long-term one and we don't see much of these incidents. Pakistan, as you know well, also has waged so many wars against these terrorist elements. We've lost tens of thousands of civilians as well as our armed forces personnel in this war. We need to get rid of all such elements that are trying to create havoc in Pakistan, and that I feel is the resolve of every Pakistani that understands how to move and how to take Pakistan forward. Thank you so very much, Dr. Farah Naz, to have joined us, to have talked to us about Pakistan's security in the whole backdrop of the incidents that have been happening, the latest of which happened in Lucky Marwat yesterday. Let's come to our last two stories, ladies and gentlemen. The first is on a positive note. There is a groundbreaking discovery that has been made by researchers from the university. Hope that they are pursuing such strategies and only time and resources are in their way to make further progress. It's a good thing. We all need to get rid of all such diseases that are wreaking havoc in the lives of so many people, and cancer is at the forefront of them also. Of course, a good news. And finally, let's go to the social media front and let's talk about Twitter. We've been talking about Elon Musk and his taking over of Twitter and how many are not happy with the consequences of this takeover. Now, Twitter has said on Sunday that it is going to remove accounts that were created solely for the purpose of promoting other social media platforms and content that contains links or usernames. Now, this is going to impact platforms such as Facebook, such as Instagram, Mastodon, Truth Social, Tribal, Nostra, Post. But apparently it is not going to affect TikTok. This is what the report says. Also, what is very interesting, apart from that, on a very side note, is a poll that was conducted today by Elon Musk himself. He wanted to know from his 122 million followers whether he should stand down as the CEO of Twitter. 57.5% voted yes, you need to stand down. Mr. Musk is yet to comment since the poll has closed. Even if he were to resign as the chief executive, he will still remain Twitter's owner. 17.5 million people voted on this poll today. Let's see what happens, whether he still retains or he leaves his position as the CEO. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with news story segments that pertain to us, you and Pakistan. Stay safe, take care of yourselves and of those around you, especially those who have been impacted by the floods. Allah Hafiz.